Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Craftin. Let's see if we have volume and all of that. So here we go. Lori from Late Night Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Craftin. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States coming to you. We're going to pretend that it's Wednesday, February 25th at 11:59 p.m. I would have been here sooner, except I'm making sourdough bread, so I was hung up with stretch and folds and stuff. And for proof, there's all the flour on my shirt. All the dough. Let me get my other device set up here. And we will get going. It looks like I've got some sound. I'm just trying to get things going here. Give me a second. I rebooted a couple of my devices. Because it was bogging down. I think my computer did like an automatic update and then it was like hanging up, so that was a little bit of a problem. All right, we're almost here. All right, so it looks like, hello, Rosa. How are you? I'm a few minutes late, don't tell. And had I realized that Juju, who sometimes pops in here but comes on before me with her junk journal stuff, if I had realized that she was not going to be live tonight, I could have come up earlier. But I was making sourdough bread. I got some dough going on and all of that. Well, I'm glad you're doing good. So let's just do a couple of our quickie little announcements as people are maybe finding that I'm here, albeit late. But all of the things Stampin' Up! Specials, things coming up, announcements. Hello, Allie. You can find at my website, latenightlori.stampinup.net. My store is there as well. If you don't have your own store, you can visit mine. I'll back that up a little bit more. With my new lights, I have kind of a glare on my camera screen when I go on my tiptoes to see it. So sometimes it's hard to see. So bonus days, if you had coupons that you earned in January and up to February 2nd, if you haven't used them yet, you have to use them within the next couple of days because they will expire on the 28th. Don't be that person that loses their bonus. And then another bonus is this awesome positioner from Stampin' Up! It is a new tool that's coming to our line. If you're not already part of a team, now would be a time to join, and you can get that Stampin' Positioner for free. All the details are on my website. I'm not going to belabor that issue because the gals of you that are here, you've heard it all. Product of the month, Stampin' Up! Gave us a preview. What do you know? So let me see if I can zoom this in again. So they gave us a preview. This is the Notes of Spring. And it's just got some spring stuff. It's got happiest birthday wishes, a little note of thanks, and especially for you, along with those two-step Stampin' images. So we've got the bunny and the goose or the duck, whatever you want it to be, I suppose, and the deer. That's super cute. And then that's all I got. That's all the announcements I have. Does anybody have any questions? Did you ladies see I showed the new stamp pad last night? Were you on when I showed that? So you like the Oh, I suppose I should back this up again. The comments on my devices come in a little delayed, so I never know exactly where we're at. So, yeah, it's really kind of cute. At first, I'm thinking, oh, I'm not sure. I mean, I'll get it. It's only $5. Okay, so Stampin' Up! Announced, and let me pull up the little announcement. Stampin' Up! Announced that starting in May, this is not a color. This toffee is not a color, so just disregard that. We're just looking at the case, okay? When Close to My Heart folded into Stampin' Up! Stampin' Up! Bought the rights to this stamp pad. It is a really slick design. And let me get logged in so I can get to my announcements. So starting with the new catalog that's coming out in May, the new in colors that are coming out in May are going to have this new stamp pad design. Now, some people are kind of in a tizzy about it. I am thrilled. I'm thrilled to pieces, all right? So let me move this stuff out of the way so we can just see a little bit better here. Okay, I am thrilled to pieces. When when Close to My Heart closed, when they ceased their business, and Stampin' Up! Brought in some of their makers, they were called. They brought in some of their product line and sold off some of the inventory that Close to My Heart had left. So I had an opportunity to buy one of these stamp pads because I was curious, all right? Because I had met one of the gals from Close to My Heart and she had shown this and I thought it was awesome. So you can see the size is a little bit different. If you have the Stampin' Up! Storage, you know, the plastic cube storage where you can add the slats, these fit nicely. These will still fit. They'll just hang off a little bit more, all right? Not a big deal. If you have Stampin' storage, these will fit very nicely in the Stampin' Storage one that you get. If it holds these, the one that's designed for Stampin' Up! Inks, it will hold this. And I found that with these pads, I put the spacer behind here when I put them into their little cubby hole. These, I don't think I'm going to need the spacer at all. All right. This is foam. This is felt. Yay. So the felt holds more ink. The formulas for the ink are different though. So and we found this when we went to the foam a number of years ago. The old ink pads that we had that were linen or felt or whatever they were, nobody wanted to go to the foam. And now nobody wants to leave the foam because they've gotten used to it. Sometimes change is hard. Change is going to happen. And I personally am just thrilled. The foam pads I have found, sometimes my foam comes off the pad. Not all the way, but like the corners left. The foam can be easily damaged. I have had stampers in my classes accidentally run their fingernail through it and rip the foam. And they do. I have re-inked my foam pads way more than I re-inked my old pads. Okay. And I don't even know. I don't even have any of the old pads anymore. Looks like I've gotten rid of all of my old pads. But Stampin' Up! Does a color refresh. Good morning, Vicki. Welcome. The foam does deteriorate, and I've replaced a couple of my pads because they get all gunky. Now, some people say you can rinse them out, let them dry, re-ink them. To tell you the truth, I haven't tried that because it looks like the foam was funky. And I just did that with one of my Mossy Meadow pads. So anyway, I have had to re-ink my foam pads way more than any other pads that I had before the foam ones. All right. So these are like magic. There's magnets in here. They're beautiful. If you are the kind of person who likes to squeeze ink into your lid so you can do water painting and that sort of thing, you can still squeeze. It's actually a little easier to squeeze. I don't know if it's because of how the felt sticks out or that the well is just smaller. It's not quite as deep. But the magnet on here, I absolutely love. Now, these have one piece, okay? A lot of people struggled with this new design because it was like backwards of the other design because we flipped it out and over and all of that. And these, you have to flip open like a whole compact and then slide it. I have told people that if it sticks, just put a little dollop of Vaseline on there and that helps. But these, there's two pieces, right? So what do you do so that you're not losing your cover? You put it down and you set this on top of it and you've got them together, okay? So they'll come apart when you want them to, but well, I guess if you shift it hard enough, it might come off, but maybe I didn't have it up there because of my fingers. So that is a nice feature. I love it that it's like this. I have trouble. I've not been diagnosed with arthritis, but when I worked at the VA, one of the doctors there said I could have de Quervain syndrome, which is just a thumb joint thing. It's not carpal tunnel. It's not necessarily arthritis. So I don't know, but my thumbs get really sore and hard to move. And this will make it a whole lot easier, I think, for every single stamper. All right. My granddaughter is going to have an easier time opening these. So these pads will have the same kind of labels that these pads do. Where do I have my Mossy Meadow? What did I do with that one? Because I need to open it and put a label on it. Here it is. So let me just slice this open because this is the one that I just replaced. So to start out with, Stampin' Up! Is only doing the in colors, all right? So the 5 new in colors are going to come in this style ink pad. Starting in 2027, probably May, probably the May release. I think that's what they said, but I'm not positive. But that would make sense, all right? Stampin' Up! Will start rolling out the other colors in this one. So don't feel like you have to replace all of your ink pads because that's not Stampin' Up's intention. I mean, if you want to, great. But these ink pads are still going to work. My recommendation, though, is if you do not have re-inkers for these and use, if you're going to continue to use these, order your re-inkers now. Order one re-inker for all of your favorite colors before they sell out. All right. Once, excuse me, once Stampin' Up! Starts rolling out the new designs, these will not be replaced. So it's going to be a kind of while supplies last, but they're planning on having supply to cover through the end of 2026, as far as I'm aware. Okay. So with these stamp pads, you know, we get this sticker sheet on the back. And I usually just peel the whole thing off because I don't like those stickers hanging on the back of my ink pad. And then you know that I do my Color Coach stickers that I put on the back here. I'm still going to do them for these. I will probably have to reduce the size a little bit more. Yeah, I'll have to reduce the size a little bit more, but I'm good with that. You know, that's just taking it from 100% down to maybe 90 or 85. Not a big deal. All right, so with this, we have a couple because they put them in a couple of different languages and then they were giving us a blank one. I think what they're going to do now is just give us the English one and then the couple of languages. I don't know if we're going to have the extra pieces, but you will still put a sticker. Now, as far as I'm aware, they'll probably be about this size because this is a sticker on here that I put on when I got this. So the idea would be to put your sticker on probably the base so that when you take your base off, you know what color it belongs to in case you have multiples open. And then put another piece of the color like in here. all right? So that when you're working, sometimes the colors aren't real obvious or they look really similar or they don't look at all like the color they are when they stamp. So you will put, you know, one of these in here and they'll be colored, I'm sure, similar to what these are, all right? So let's just go ahead with this one. So what I've been doing with these is I put one on the end. I put a blank one. I'll put the Mossy Meadow on the inside because we get 2 in English now that the Japanese market closed. And
good night, ladies.
Mac Man going to bed. All right, so that can go in there. And then when I have the extra one, I'll just take, if we have this one, I usually put it on the other end. Just in case somebody puts an ink pad in the wrong place, I can still see the color. So yes, this is a big move for Stampin' Up. And I will warn you ahead of time, these pads are going to cost a little bit more. Well, probably quite a bit more. I think these are going to be $14. I think that's what I saw. I don't remember if Stampin' Up announced it, but thank you, Rosa. But these will be more. Part of it is the magnetics that are in here. So the materials to make it are going to be more expensive. The felt pad might be more expensive. I don't know. And depending on where the materials need to come from to make the cases, of course, that affects the price. But I am super excited. So the nice thing about these too is while the Stampin' Up ones right now have these little, excuse me, have the little feet knobs on them. So they kind of stack. They slip around though, all right? But you could stack a bunch and they would kind of stay in place, right? They would stay in place. These, when you stack them, I only have one, so I can't really show you. But basically it's going to be like, there's the back, and they're going to stick together. So they will be more secure in a stack than these are, which I think is pretty slick. All right. So there's my 10 or 15 minutes raving about these. I am so excited. All right. So when these get released, you're going to want to probably think about getting the re-inker that goes with this. The ink that's designed, formulated for the felt pads is different from the ink that's formulated for the foam. Now, if you remember, we had cloud cover and there was a color shift, and that was due, at least in part, to the chemical reaction with the foam. A few years back, we had a color purple posy. It was the same thing. There was a reaction with the chemicals in the foam. You're not going to have that with the felt. The other thing that Stampin' Up mentioned, as far as I'm aware, they're still going to sell the mini ink cubes. And those are not foam, are they? Or are they? I don't even know, because I usually don't use mine. Are those foam or are they felt? But I would think they'll still sell the Stampin' Spots. They haven't said they're not, so I'm just guessing, since they haven't told us that they will be. Yeah, these are not foam. These are felt. All right. So the nice thing about felt over foam is that the felt holds more ink. Okay. Yeah, they're felt. They're definitely felt. And I can feel it right now. Little joke there. So the felt holds more ink, where the foam sometimes would leak. Sometimes even from Stampin' Up, if they were over inked, it would leak. That is less likely to happen with the felt. And when you re-ink the felt, you will probably need less ink, because you can just like re-ink kind of like a frame partway between the edges and the middle, and the felt will distribute it, where the foam, you had to kind of push it around because it just sat on the foam, right? So it's going to be easier to re-ink, in my opinion. It should be easier to re-ink. And then because we typically stamp like in the middle, you know, you'll have to practice a bit, because to get your stamps inked with felt is definitely different from foam. You know, you can squish into the foam and get them way over inked. You're probably going to have to repeat a little bit more to get a similar amount of ink on our stamps now. But I'm good with that. All right, so hopefully I'm not going to have any more squishy messes, and it'll be more controlled distribution of ink to the stamps. All right, we're still going to be able to do, you know, techniques where we drag the ink. All right, you're still going to be able to do that with these new felt pads, if that's a technique you like to do. So I think that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions, things that I might know that I didn't cover? So let me get that announcement up and see if there's something else that was announced that I can, maybe I'm not remembering. I just have to find there were a lot of announcements this week. Looking ahead. Here we go. All right, so the in colors, the 2026 to 2028 are the first ones that are going to come out. And then in 2027, like I said, all of the ink colors are going to start transitioning to the new magnetic felt pads. And there is a planned color revamp. So I kind of alluded to that, I think, earlier in the conversation. Every 5 years-ish or so, Stampin' Up! Revamps some of the colors. The last time we did a color revamp, they changed out 11 of the colors. A couple of my favorites left, like Mary Merlot, Rich Razzleberry. I can't think of a few of the others because some of the others I didn't really care about because the replacements were colors that I liked better. I'm hoping Secret Sea will become a core color, but I don't know. And they haven't said how many colors might be shifting, you know, from the current collection, maybe going out. And it all depends on what the trends are, the color trends are. Okay, so know that there is going to be a color revamp. So you just started to get ink refills. Well, you're going to want those if you're hanging on to these ink pads, because if there's nothing wrong with your ink pads, there's nothing wrong with your ink pads, right? So there's that. Let me see if there's anything else. I think that's it. That's all I see on the summary that they've provided, the written summary. So if you're a demonstrator, make sure you go into the weekly updates this week and you'll see all kinds of new information. And I'm not sure that all of it is released to the public yet. So that was just the quick summary that I know I can share. So, and again, this is not a color that's that I'm aware of that's going to be offered. All right. This was just the only pad that I could buy when they became available to the Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. So let's play just a little bit with our paper pumpkin kit, because I said I would do some alternative cards. And I already spent like 20 minutes raving about this new stamp pad. I'm so excited. You do not believe how I'm just super excited. So here's the cards I did last night from the kit, just as the instructions said, for the most part, okay? And I think they're adorable. I think they are adorable. I did also see the Stampin' Up! Like the paper pumpkin unboxing sort of thing that they do, where they have other designs, where maybe the concept artists have made another alternate design. Did anybody see that earlier this week? I don't know if that was yesterday or the day before. I don't remember. But, well, I'm seeing some hearts, so hopefully some people like either the cards or the new ink pad. I don't know. So here's some elements. I'm going to basically kind of copy one of the Stampin' Up! Cards that I saw the gals show. And this is just a regular card base. I'm doing it in the basic white. Oh, I should look up too to see if these dies are available. 168. Now, the other thing that I don't know about those new ink pads, I don't know, I'm guessing every color is going to get a new number, a new order number. Because, oh, thank you, Rosa. They're adorable, aren't they? Because the new colors are going to be in a different package. I think they'll probably assign them new numbers, but don't quote me on that. I have no idea. That just now occurred to me that maybe it would be new numbers. All right, so I am using today, these are the Beautiful Blooms dies. That's a Paper Pumpkin add-on. So if you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you are eligible to purchase these. And basically what Stampin' Up! Did, I cut some of these things ahead of time because I had just a couple minutes. So we're going to go ahead and put some of this Easter paper on here. The Easter Joy Specialty Designer Series paper. Now remember, this is the paper that's got the different colored foiling on there. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the matte side that's got the little bunnies and the Easter baskets and the cute thing, the flowers and stuff, because it's cute. Monochromatic, but it's cute. And let's go ahead and glue this down. Hopefully with this foiling on here, it'll stay in place pretty quickly. I worry about some of these specialty papers because I don't want them to slide. And I don't want the glue to like peel and crack or anything, but I think it's kind of unfounded concern on my part because I've not had it happen. I've had it happen on vellum, or window sheets rather. All right, so I'm just going to hold this in place. And hopefully it will behave. And then we're going to put this piece on here. And I'm thinking, I think we'll do that. Let's lay these things out and we'll see if I want to have that elevated on dimensionals or not. Now, this is that beautiful die from the add-on dies, and I love it because there are no pieces you have to keep track of, like the eye, the dot for the eye. You don't have to keep track of it because it's already there. All right. And we're going to just use spring. So this says sweet spring greetings. We're just going to use spring. And I am going to cover up part of this. There we go. I'm going to cover up part of our words here. That's my Post-it tape. And then we can stamp our spring. Now I did have that kind of, I'm going to change this for a second. I had this kind of shifted on here so it kind of matched the shape of the banner, but I didn't do it quickly enough and it kind of sprung back to where it wanted to be. Because you can kind of change the shape of these photopolymer stamps if you're gentle. You don't want to go tearing it around, but that's got a little bit of shape to it, not as much as I probably would like. I could always cut them apart. I've done that before too. Just do a little stamp surgery, but I'm going to leave this all intact. And I think we're going to do balmy blue. Maybe I should get a darker color. No, it's working. This is one of the ink pads that I have to re-ink. And I see a little bit of something on there. There we go. All right, so let's take these off. And I'm going to make sure that I don't have any color on there. And then let's get our Pearson mat on here. Now I just put some of my hot breath on there to kind of reactivate or moisten the ink, because I had kind of putzed around too long. That's very pretty. Very dainty. All right, so we can get this out of the way. So now if we put this here, we can have a little banner here. We're going to put beautiful here so we can say beautiful spring. Maybe I don't want to cover up the spring. I probably should have put spring a little bit lower. Maybe I should do that again on another banner. Let's try to put spring a little bit lower, because that might look a little nicer. Just trying to move it around so I can pick up some ink wherever the ink happens to be. And let's just try to put this nearer the bottom of the banner. That might work better with the beautiful, as long as I got all that ink off of there. Nice. All right, take two worked all right. Whoop. Just bumped my one light. Hopefully that won't make a strobe effect. All right. So this will go here. We'll be able to see a little bit of our postcard piece, and that's from here, from those add-on dies. Oh, that's better. That's better. Beautiful spring. I think we'll make spring go straight. And beautiful can kind of maybe cover up those dots a little bit. And then we've got our little tulips. These are from the add-on dies as well. Now what I did here was I used the envelope and I cut out my tulip pieces. And basically this tulip piece here, this die, cuts out both pieces that you need. I used all of these dies for this card. All right, so this is the die you need, and it cuts out the inside piece and the top piece all in one swoop, which is kind of nice. So we're going to go ahead and put some mini dimensionals on these tulip fronts. Now the first time I cut these out, I put the tulip piece on the outside, and it would probably be all right, but I think it's designed to go inside, and that just looked better to me. So let's go ahead, and these are slatted, so that gives them some dimension as well. So I'm going to put some dimensionals here. I'm going to shift that one down a little bit. It was a little too close to the edge. And then I'm going to put some glue near the bottom so that when I put it on the stem, hopefully it'll stay down. So I'll put glue around the bottom and the edges so when I put them down here, it'll stick. And then we're going to have a little lift when we put it on top of those back petals. These are so cute. So this card is super simple. Didn't use a whole lot of elements from the paper pumpkin kit itself, except for these two, like, they're not really daffodils, but those flowers, whatever kind of flower that is, and the envelope flap. Now, I could still use this white paper for some other elements. You know, maybe I want to do beautiful in white a few times. That would work. So I'll still use this for something, obviously not an envelope, because it doesn't have a flap anymore. All right. So if we put these together, I think if we put everything flat and then this raised up, it'll be good. So I'm going to work like this so that I don't put glue on these elements where I don't want them. So let's go ahead first and put our little spring on here. We'll just put that kind of near the bottom. And let's make it so the word spring is straight. That's why I love the multi-purpose liquid glue, because you can shift it a little bit. And then here we'll put a little bit of glue. I should have done this on an adhesive sheet. That would have made my life a little bit easier. Oh, and let's do these first. Let's lift that up just a little bit. And I'm going to tuck the middle one in first. There. Crisis averted. And then these, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue along the bottom and the sides here. And maybe that's why they're slit too, so that when you press them down, it gives them even more dimension, because those top pieces kind of stay out. And then I'll put more glue there when we're getting ready to... Oh, I won't have to. We'll put another dimensional on there, I think, because that's going to stand up a little bit, because we'll put dimensionals here. I could have probably made these tulips different colors, but I'm kind of following the design from Stampin' Up. And they just had these a plain pink. I don't think they used the envelope like I did. So it's a little bit different. That's what casing is. Copy and share everything, or copy and slightly edit. We'll make that go even further over. And then these little folks are going to go right there. And I think I'll put those up on dimensionals too. Why not? I've noticed that the more recent orders of Stampin' Dimensionals that I've had, they haven't seemed as thick. And that wasn't a change that was announced. I think it just kind of happened. I think we'll put that down there. Oh, we can't put that there because that's where beautiful has to go. What are you thinking? So Rosa, you don't normally make alternatives? Yeah. And see, with me, I just have a hard time following the instructions. I usually do something different, thinking, oh, I don't like that. I want to do it my way. So sometimes I don't even open up the instruction sheet. I might do my cards based on the picture. And and not necessarily follow the instructions. And sometimes I really try to follow the instructions. I think we'll just put this down where it kind of belongs, closer to the words. We'll see. Allie doesn't make her cards by the kit at all. She does all alternatives on hers, and she usually gets, she said last night, about 30 cards to a kit, which is pretty ambitious and impressive. I know there's other demonstrators too that really maximize the kits. I used to watch Rachel Tessman quite a bit and get a lot of cute ideas, and it's just like, oh my goodness, there's so much. So many ideas, so little time. And I'm gonna let that set a little bit. Now, I did cut, oh, I don't want to put it in there. I did cut a couple of extras. Now, I should have probably asked you if you liked the pink one to match the flowers or the yellow one, because I cut it out a couple of extra times. You could probably even layer them. But I thought that was kind of a lot of pink, and I was trying to stick more with the design. So if we put this about here, and the nice thing about this too is that you can kind of shape that too to follow the lines. So now we could put this flower kind of here and that one up there. That's good. That'll be fine. And then let's put some dimensionals on the back of here. Oh, and I probably shouldn't have put a dimensional there, just because, oh, it'll avoid, it's not right on top of another one. I try not to put dimensionals right on top of each other, because then I can kind of sneak them through the postal service without them being too thick. So Allie, where do you get your inspiration for your alternatives? Do you just start cutting and piecing together and making your own ideas, or do you pick up other ideas from others you've seen? Do you just dig right in? I find if I dig right into my kits, I'm more likely to get them all done. And I'm just going to snip, there's a little, just with a little nubby on there. You probably can't see it from your vantage point, but that's where it was attached to the laser cut sheet there. All right, let's try this again. That looks pretty good. All right, and this looks like it's coming along. So I just kind of wait for it to become translucent, because then the glue is not going to ooze out, and it makes it a little bit repositionable for me. But I think that'll work just like that. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put this ribbon on here. That ribbon was going to go around here under the layer. I wonder. Of course, we can fix that. There we go. So let's put a little bow. Maybe we want the bow on this side though. See, there's a reason I did not glue that layer, right? This ribbon is adorable too. This little gingham check stuff. It's balmy blue. it's got such a petite pattern to it. There's a little bit there that's kind of flawed. It wasn't woven quite right. So I don't want to use that on a project. Thank you for the hearts. So this will just have it as a little extra texture inside. And I'm good with that. And we'll figure out the layer for the inside. Maybe we'll put some more of this paper on the inside and a white label for whatever words we want to write. Now I'm doing my bow upside down because that's usually how they work out better for me. I don't know if it's because I'm left-handed or because I'm just, I don't know. For some reason, I have better luck when I try to tie them upside down. That turned out pretty good even. That was a first try. I think we'll cut this one just a little bit shorter. Very cute. And then we should have some little gem things on here, right? Now, I think these are, let's see if these are available. I thought they were out of stock. Oh, yes, these are currently unavailable. But did you know if you shop for something and it's not available, that you can have them notify you when it's in stock? And then you'll get an email right away and you can go in and order them when they're back. I think I'm going to use the cloud cover ones because I've used up almost all the white ones and I might want those. So let's do some of these cloud cover ones. They look kind of balmy bluish. I'm just going to put them on here randomly. And they're so flat, I could actually just go like that. I think I'm going to put 5 on this one. One more little one over here. Cute. All right, so let's go ahead and do an inside layer and get this puppy done, right? We'll do it right. Do you want to see the inside or should I just move it aside and do something else? It won't take long. And then we can see how it all looks with the inside done. That just did not want to cooperate. And normally I would have cut my card base so that it went like hot dog instead of hamburger, because with these you can see it opens up, so if somebody's going to put it on display it's going to flatten out. All right, so the other thing we're going to do is put our little handcrafted from the heart on there. And let's cut this down. I just need to do that to 4 inches because it's already 5 1/4. The gingham check ribbon is just so cute. Does anybody have that? It's such a nice ribbon. we'll just do a white one. The white is a little bit different, so I'm not going to do my layer with the envelope, but that would certainly be something to consider depending on what you're doing. You have it and you're hoarding it. Use it, woman. Use it. Let's do the mini. We'll bring in little Betsy. Whoops. There we go. And then let's see if I have a scrap big enough. And I do. How about that? Now it's a little more challenging to put a squared die angled when you've got the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but it can be done because it rolls through a little bit easier when it's the point going through rather than the straight edge. It is so delicate. It's gorgeous. I think there's 10 yards of it, right? Yeah, there's 10 yards of it. Use it up, girl. All right. I think that's going to be adorable. Oh, the other thing with the new ink pads, I remember them saying that you can't do it so much with the foam ones, but like with these, let me take a scrap. So with these, you can use the felt and it just makes a nice controlled edge around your paper. One other beautiful thing with these new pads. I'm so excited. You want to buy more before it's gone. Not a bad idea. My problem is I just never know what they're going to come out with next. And like that cloud cover ribbon, I'm surprised at how much I used of that. I don't use as much ribbon as I should. Cute, cute little alternative. All right, what do you think? I'm seeing a couple other little nibs here that I didn't see before. There. Sometimes I'll take just a little like glass emery board or a regular emery board and take those off of there. All right, so let's do another one. Did I have, oh, I have to cut more flower heads. I just cut off stems. So here, what if we did, beautiful. We could put beautiful on the banner. What do you think of that? And then just block cut spring. It is a good staple to have, and I'm just gonna do the whole thing because we can, oh, for goodness sake, I can't see. Need some nice scrap paper. See that? You're not going to get that with the felt. Okay, I just don't think you're going to get that mess on your stamps anymore. That's a little wet. I still, to be honest, I still have some of that, the black and white or the black and ivory gingham. I don't use it for classes, but sometimes I have cards that it just works really good with. So I am a hoarder as well. It's not just you. All right, so we could do Beautiful Spring. I'm going to put some glue on here. We're going to let it, or do we want yellow or pink? And I'm going to do, this one has a crease in it from my plate. I guess I'm not going to, we could do something like this. That would cover up the crease. Beautiful Spring. And then we'll do just a couple of flowers. What do you think of that one? And let's get a balmy blue card base, maybe? You think balmy blue? Are you laughing at me, Rosa, because I'm a hoarder? Okay, we'll use both. So let's go ahead and put a little glue on these. We'll let them settle. Maybe there we go. And again, had I been thinking ahead, I would have put adhesive sheets on these, because these would be perfect for adhesive sheets. But I really like, on delicate things like this, I really like letting the glue partially dry, because then I don't have the glue oozing out onto my project. So when I'm done with this, I have to go back out into the kitchen and do another set of stretch and folds. I got 4 loaves of sourdough bread settling. I should have done some stretch and folds since I've been here, but you know, I can only do one project at a time, so the bread will be fine. And I made some sourdough discard peanut butter cookies. Those turned out quite good. I just happened across a really good recipe. So I'll be taking my friend some bread, some cookies, and some Homestead fresh chicken eggs. Oh, come on. There. Let go. All right, leave that there. Should we do a white card base or a balmy blue? Hoarders Anonymous, I just saw that. Right? I guess I'll go get a balmy blue and we'll see how it looks. And, oh good, and I have a balmy blue that's already cut to be hot dog style. So here we're going to glue this one flat. Some days I'm just so uncoordinated. My glue bottle is sticking to my cardstock and I couldn't get it to let go. Kind of like the Beautifuls. Couldn't get them to let go. Now I'm trying to get this a little closer to the edges than I might normally do, just because of that foiling on there. All right, and then what color do you think we're going to want our flowers? Because we're going to have to put some flowers on here. Because if we're going to put a couple of our tulips, we're going to need tulip heads. And then are we going to put yellow on top or the pink on top? Because that might make a difference as to how we want our flowers. I wonder, is there... How big are these? These are the daffodils. I bet the daffodils could work on here. Let's do yellow, yeah. Let's see if those are big enough. And we're going to put this cockeyed so that, so let's put the pink here. Of course, that pink has a cute little design on it too from the envelope. Oops. That is really cute. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see better how that looks. And I'm going to put spring up on an adhesive sheet. I thought I had some adhesive sheets open already. I must have used up that last one, huh? I use a lot more of these than I ever used to. Normally I am like a primary color bright person, but these pastels are just really cute together. Beautiful spring, that'll kind of go there. So I think I'll glue this down here. Get a little. So I think that you're a subtles person, huh? I'm like a brights and regals person. I mean, I like them all, but those are the ones that I usually gravitate to first. All right, let me go get a couple of yellows here. And we'll bring out little Betsy again. I can put these away. Neutrals are, you know, I like them all. I did some thank you cards when my mother passed away, and I did them in subtles like crumb cake, black, just very subtle, neutral kind of colors. And they were beautiful cards. Not because I made them, but they turned out very nice. So I'm going to run this view through a couple of times just because, whoops, where's the plate? Just because I'm going to use the crushed curry for the inside. I think we might have lost Allie. Thanks for keeping me company, Rosa. That one doesn't want to pop out. All right, I might have to get a pokey tool out here. Oh, and I might have to back up a little bit too, huh? Sorry about that. That was really close. All right. Run this through again. And I think I'm actually, I just saw your live. Thank you for doing the live. You are welcome. I'm glad that you joined me. I'm glad that I'm not talking to myself every night. Because I know people go through and they watch the replay too. Because not everybody stays up all night. Oh, and that's going to work good. My mother was always a night owl. I'm a night owl. I just feel like I get more creative when all of the noise of the day stops. Because I can sit in here with no radio, no TV, no music, no YouTube things playing. I just sit and enjoy the peace and quiet. One more, and I think we'll have the layers that I have in mind. And then tomorrow, or later today rather, I think I'm going to do a trifold with the paper pumpkin kit. All right, these have to go back in here. I should probably have used the stem from this stamp set that actually goes with the daffodils because there's a stem there, but I already had those glued down, so that's what we're using. I keep dropping some of my plates because I have a reminder hanging in front of the little cubby hole where it goes, because my work table is it's got 6 cubbies under it. It's really stable. I got it where did I get it? I actually ordered it through the mail from I'm trying to think. It's a place that I don't know if they're even still in business. So I think we're going to do this, but I'm going to layer these because I only need 2. So I think what I'll do is layer the dark on the light maybe. So that we'll get one of each. I just want to have a little bit more stability on there. So the older I get, the more peace and quiet I thrive on. And we'll put that up on a dimensional, I think. And because I don't want to throw these pieces away, I'm just layering so I don't have stuff left over. Because I don't really want to throw it away. That one I can kind of shift so you can see the two colors. And now we need the one with the lighter yellow, the Daffodil Delight, on top. And if they're offset a little bit, I'm good with that because that just gives them more dimension. This one's offset a little bit. That's pretty much right on track. All right, dimensionals. Yeah, I've done a retreat. But there were very few people. It was limited. It was like a by invitation only. The gal who coordinated it is a friend of mine. She's also a customer, but we craft together. But she did like a crop sort of thing, and there were only maybe 6 of us all together over the course of the weekend, and that wasn't too bad. There wasn't a lot of chit chat. We were all doing our business, and it was quite nice. But the bigger crops where there's lots of stuff going on, it gets to be a little much. Let's see how I want to do this. There we go. So I try to do it so that I don't cut it off my spool until I have my ribbon pretty much tied. This is going to go in. I'm going to put a couple of glue dots on each side of the knot. Yeah, when she did her little crop thing, there were a couple of other groups that were there also. Different groups in different rooms, different floors, like different areas. We couldn't hear them from where we were, but they had just a boatload of people, and I'm thinking, oh, that's like too much distraction for me. And then there's a lot of visiting going on, which, you know, you're there with people that have something in common, right? But if I'm going to be there to get a bunch of stuff done, just let me get my stuff done. Now, I think that's kind of big. Let's Try the littler one. Oh. We could put a pink one on there. What do you think of the pink? Thank you so much, Allie. Thank you. I thought you had maybe gone to sleep. That's why I almost said Allie or Rosa. Phew. So I use the Stampin' Up! Alternative as my inspiration. And really, if I use this pink flower, that's the only thing from the Paper Pumpkin kit. So I don't know if I can really, and the spring. It's almost like it's not really an alternative, but it is. I use some of the elements from the Paper Pumpkin kit. Should we use this? Oh, that's right. You do your video. I don't think I want to use this just because those are die cut and this looks more animated. So we're just not going to use it. I think those little dots take the place of whatever we need there. And then I'll save this one because we could use this for something else. There's nothing wrong with that. And then tomorrow, I don't know, you were busy, Allie. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate that so much. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to do a trifold. So what I'll end up doing is taking, let's scooch these up a little bit. I'll take, let's see. Maybe I'll do these even. Oh, that's something else I could do. I have a basket. Let me see if I can still have it over here. What did I do with it? Here it is. I did this basket a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years, whenever we had this paper. Maybe I'll do this tomorrow as well. We'll make a little Easter basket. Different from this Easter basket, which is adorable, but just something different. So if I do a trifold, what I will probably do is something like this. And create a little scene of it. Maybe like this. And put some grass on here or something. We'll play with this tomorrow. All right. That little basket could come over here. We could put a little tag on the basket. We can put some little eggs in the basket. A couple more flowers. Maybe I'll do it. Oh, that's what I'll do. I'll do like a Z fold. There's tomorrow's. You kind of have a preview. We'll see how it goes. All right. So I'm going to get back to my sourdough bread so I can stretch and fold it and let it rest for a few hours before I get up and shape it and get it ready to bake. I'm meeting my friend in the afternoon, so she will have fresh baked bread. All right. So now I know what I'm doing tomorrow. Planning ahead, or later, rather, later. All right, so here's our 2 for tonight. Thank you for popping in, Rosa. Here's our 3 from yesterday. Inspired by our Paper Pumpkin stuff. So thank you for joining me, everybody. I appreciate it. And let me get my little cue up here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You are welcome for the live. Thank you for keeping me company. I appreciate it. If you're just coming on, feel free to leave a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. Go back and watch the replay. These are the 2 we did tonight. These are the 3 from yesterday's Paper Pumpkin kit that are pretty much according to the instructions. And then we kind of have a sneak peek into my thought process for the next card. So Until next time, happy crafting.